Levarme la moustache en la capucha. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki tacatiki. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Sani levarme la moustache en la capucha.
What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today, man, let's, normally I go into my keys of the game and stuff like that, but to hell with the keys today. This is one of these games that you sit up here and say, why does Washington find multiple ways of losing a game? There are things you can do as a team that will sit up there and make you, that'll force you to understand that you need to have some type of pride when it comes to playing against people. And the fact that you sit up there and you watch them fail over and over and over again, and it just never gets any better. It's amazing to me at how we sit up here and Landon Collins just moved a linebacker and he's now our best linebacker. How does that make any sense? Now, don't get me wrong, the defense wasn't really the cause of this, but there was a lot of things that was going on that could have been fixed. Not only that, you're talking about we had injured offensive linemen. Our offensive line goes down for some reason. Chase Rouillet goes down. Cornelius Lucas wasn't there, so Sadiq Charles had to play. You can clearly see he's rusty. Chase Rouillet goes down. Then later in the game, Eric Flowers goes down. The pocket was collapsing on Taylor Heineke often. It was so many things going on in this game, and it's like, why do we have to sit up here and lose games like this consistently? It's so amazing at how there's never a point where anything we do makes some type of sense. And I'm going to say this as well. The whole Scott Turner is the most inconsistent play caller I've ever come across that has coached for Washington, because every time you turn around, clearly at some point Ron must have told him, go back to the run, please, because there was a point where they were down at the end zone early in the second half, and instead of him running the ball out of the trying to run the ball to get away from the end zone, they were throwing. And I guess at some point Ron Rivera must have said, Scott, what are you doing? Run the ball. Second straight game that we lose, second straight game where we get into the red zone and we come away with 0 points. We came out with 0 points. 0 points. Second straight game. And then, for all of you who were so desperate to get rid of Dustin Hopkins, and I told everybody, look, when it comes to kickers, you can't find quality kickers just out there. It just doesn't happen. And we get rid of Dustin Hopkins, and you bring in Chris Blewett, and Chris Blewett has blown 3 kicks in 2 weeks. 3. And y'all expect for everybody to be okay. Like I said, Scott Turner, the fact that he was calling plays, let's talk about that 2nd and 4. That was in the red zone. That 2nd and 4, and he sits up there and calls a play for a receiver comeback as a screen. Why would you even do that? And Ricky Seals-Jones catches the ball and then he loses yardage. Why would you even do that? Why is that the play on 2nd and 4? And then the other thing that bothers me is every time I'm watching a game, there's always some crazy stat where it's the team's first time doing it against Washington. Every single time, there's some type of weird stat that comes out, and it's like, well, this is the first time this team has done that since blah, 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 blah. Why is that? Why is every time we watch the games, we got this weird stat that comes up, and it's like, well, every time this. We sit up here, and all we ever do is shoot ourselves in the foot. That's all we ever do. I mean, it don't even matter. I told y'all one of my keys was get your hands up. The defensive line to get their hands up. They played well enough, but guess what? They could have been blocking a bunch of those passes that Teddy Bridgewater was throwing. They could have blocked a lot of them. Then what was my other thing? Secondary, turn your heads around. They could have. Bobby McCain dropped a clear interception. Then coming down towards the end of the game, the Denver fumble, like Teddy Bridgewater does something that is so stupid where he throws the ball when clearly they're trying to run the clock out. Instead of him just falling on the ground, he throws the ball and gets an incompletion. But then guess what? 2 straight fumbles. They get 2 straight fumbles. They recover, and guess what Scott Turner does? I understand, but at some point you gotta do something different. I mean, you see that the pocket is constantly collapsing on Taylor Heineke. You saw that. And you still felt the need to have him have a 5-step drop back or a 7-step drop back so he could throw the ball. And here's another thing. Where the hell are the slant plays for this playbook? I mean, there were so many times that all they had to do was quick pass, slant, slant, slant. They could have slanted Denver to death in this game. Instead, they didn't do that. For some reason, they would run the ball, or they would sit up there and throw these like long short passes instead of just, here's a slant, boom, here's a slant, boom. Am I missing something? Am I missing something? 2 block kicks, 2. Chris Blewett blew 3 field goal kicks. He's blown 3 field goal kicks. 3. Clearly, this guy cannot kick. Why in the hell would you release Dustin Hopkins, a veteran kicker, just because what? All the fans are whining about it? I said that was a stupid move, and now we're seeing why it's a stupid move. You could have just had Blewett as the kickoff specialist and still kept Dustin Hopkins if that's what you was going to do. Because clearly, Blewett doesn't kick the ball high enough to not get it blocked. Now you see why he wasn't in the NFL, or why nobody cared about him, or why he hasn't kicked in the NFL, because of the fact that clearly his trajectory when it comes to kicking is off. Landon Collins. That's like the best thing that happened to us in this entire game. Landon Collins just became our best linebacker. How crazy is that? We saw Cole Holcomb get run over by a running back, whereas Landon Collins was killing them each time they came out that backfield. Landon Collins, like I said, it's so crazy to say that Landon Collins became our best linebacker. Our best linebacker. And here we are now, going into the bye, 2-6, and there's no way we're going to win some of these other games coming up. I mean, we just saw Philadelphia blow Detroit completely asunder. And not only that, they didn't even care. It got to the game was 24-0. Fox turned the game off. Fox Fox turned the game off. I had to go and catch it on something else so I can keep watching the game just to see Philadelphia not take the foot off the gas at all. Murdered them boys 44 to I think 6. Come on, y'all, man. How we gonna win any other game? How are we gonna win any other game? And you talking about coming out of our bye? We see Tampa Bay. We see you talking about Tampa Bay, Seattle. We see the last team in the AFC West. I mean, you talking about we're now 0-3 against the AFC West. 0-3 against one division. If we lose the Raiders game, we'd have been blanked. I think this would have been the second year that we would have been blanked by one particular division. I think last year, I think we got blanked last year as well. But again, like I said, it's sad, man. It's so sad because where do you go now? The crazy thing about it is that as the defense is getting better, the offense is getting worse. Whereas at the beginning of the season, the offense was the best part and the defense was the worst part. There's no way, absolutely no way, that coming out of this bye, unless insane injuries happen, that we're going to find a way to win the games that we need to win. And I want to make it clear, Taylor Heinicke might have had 2 interceptions, but it clearly wasn't his solely. Those 2 interceptions was nothing because they were towards the end, and it just so happened that he threw. Now, I mean, hell, if we'd have known that Denver was going to fumble the ball, then hell yeah, we would have needed a touchdown. But again, you're talking about this inconsistent play calling by Scott Turner is what caused a lot of the problems. I mean, this is what happens when you have an offensive coordinator who doesn't understand situational play calling. Because an offensive coordinator that understands situational play calling would sit up there and understand he doesn't have to be told by the coach to keep running the ball. Washington could have won this game simply by running the ball. And then, even with that, they were running the ball and they were running the ball and had the nerve to run up the heart of their defense instead of running on the edges like they were supposed to. It's so crazy at how everybody is supposed to expect for us to trust Ron Rivera and his decision making, even when it comes to players. You're talking about he was the one who picked all these guys on this team. You know, you're sitting here watching some of these guys as they don't even compete the way that you want. Hell, look at what happened with us in regards to the passing game and stuff like that. Their big time signee and Will Jack, the Autobot, he has been out for 2 games, and guess what? They haven't been giving up the big passing touchdown play. I wonder why that is. Washington right now does not look like they're going to win another game at this point right now. Like I said, injuries can happen. I don't know. Maybe Scott Turner finds a way to call plays that make a little bit more sense or something. But currently right now, they don't look like they're going to win another game. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to report these games to you and everything like that. It's no need in doing the keys. Because, again, like I said, they just it don't even matter because again, they could have won this game simply by running the ball, and they chose not to. They could have won this game. I mean, Chris blew it, got 2 field goals blocked. He didn't even miss. He just got them blocked. Now we see why he wasn't in the NFL, why he was out of school in 2016, and nobody felt the need to pick him up. We see why. We see why teams try their best to take away Terry McLaurin because they know Scott Turner doesn't have the play calling ability to understand why are you not calling slants. Every team we saw that beat the Denver Broncos murdered them with slant passes. Another loss in the record book, at least it's the bye week. At least it's the bye week. And somehow, some way, New Orleans was beating the Bucks. So we'll see how that game ends. I tell you, man, this is something else, man. This is just something else. Another loss into the bye. We get a moment to give ourselves a heart. We get an opportunity to take a heart attack break, and we'll just see how this team comes out on the other side. This has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.